Hey guys, and today I want to talk a little bit about something I've been doing for years. Homeschooling. Now, I've had people ask me a lot of questions about this, and I've been doing this for about 17 years now. Um, it started with my girls and then my boys. So, I've been doing this for about 17 years now. And what I would like to say is when you first get started, the first thing you want to do, and there's so many more options now than when I first got started, but what I want to say is first off is check your state laws and make sure. I'm pretty sure in most states now it is legal to homeschool, but I know at one time it wasn't legal in every state. So you might want to check your laws, and that's very easily done. Just you can Google it online to find out what your state laws are. And then I want to tell you that as you get into it, you will learn that not every child is the same. And I don't care if you have twins. I don't care if you have identical twins. I don't care if they look alike, sound alike, and sometimes act alike. You will find that not every person in the same situation will have the same experience. They are two different people, or four, or five, or however many kids you have. But today we'll talk about two. They're two different people, and they will have two different experiences of what you consider to be the same situation. They can be in the same home, in the same classroom, taught by the same teacher, eating the same food, be spoke to the same way, and I guarantee you, because they are two different individuals, they will have two different individual experiences. Now, with that said, I want to tell you, never compare one child to the other. Again, they could be identical twins for all I care. One may be crap at math and excel at spelling. And the other one may be crap at spelling and excel at math. Do not compare these children. What you want to do is you want to find a curriculum that is suffice to them, that will grow with them, that will nurture them, that will actually speak to and teach them. And that does take time. Now, you also have to understand that each child will move at their own pace. And you want to nurture that as well. I can tell you, as far as homeschooling goes and as far as public schooling goes, because I've dealt with both, not every child will live up to the world's or the public's expectations of where they should be or what they should be doing. And with that said, they will call these children slow, or they will call these children behind, or they will call these children failing. And that's so demeaning to the child, because let me tell you something. Just because a child does not exceed at what they would call a normal rate does not mean the child is incapable. If you find a situation where the child needs what they are lacking, a lot of time that will self-motivate them to start to excel in that subject. Such as, if your child is having trouble with reading or spelling, let them and help them, depending on how old they are, text grandma and grandpa. Or if they have their own phone, again, depending on how old they are, let them text with friends and family. And that way it motivates them to learn to spell better, to learn to read better. Um, if you have a child that is not doing so good in math, then at that point, what you want to do is you want to give them a small job and allow them to earn some money, and then take them to the store with that money, allow them to purchase something, and then get the change. Because at that point, they're learning subtraction. You know, there's different ways, and there's different curriculums, and there's different, you know, it's your institute, and it's your kids, and it's your, it's pretty much just your curriculum of how you're going to teach these kids. And don't worry about outside opinions. You'll get a lot of those. You'll get a lot of people, oh, those poor children, they need to be at school, they need to be socialized. Well, let me tell you something. My children go to the Y. My girls were in the Girl Scouts for a while. The boys didn't want to do Boy Scouts, but my boys go to the Y, and they go to our local park, and they have friends, and they play, and they do the normal teenage things. So, you know, socializing is not a big thing when your children are small, but as they become teenagers, then you definitely want to make sure they're socialized, because it becomes a developmental thing at probably, I would say, around 9 or 10. You want to start getting them involved with other kids their own age. When they're 4, 3, 4, 5, it's not that big a deal. But once I would definitely say, by the time they're 8, 9 on up, you want to start getting them around, because socialization is definitely a part of your learning curriculum, because you have to learn how to get along with other people. You have to learn how to deal with disappointment, rejection. You have to learn how to be a good winner or a bad winner. You have to learn how to be honest. You have to learn how to share. You have to learn how to deal with multicultural people. You have to learn how to deal with multi-race people. You have to learn how to deal with male and female. And so you have to, it is very important. It is very developmentally important for children to be socialized. So that is something else to consider. And there's so many things that you can involve kids in that they don't have to be in the public school to be a part of it. And I tell you what we used to love is when the local schools would do the book sales. Oh man, we would hit the book sales like crazy, and my kids would pick out their books, and every year they had a highlight subscription, and that was just fun. And this year, my grandson turned 10, and so I'm getting him one for Christmas, because highlights are just fun. Those little magazines that you get, and we used to get them in school, and they came with a poster and all that, and so for him to get that, I think is going to be really just a ton of fun for him to do the puzzles and the coloring and the hidden pictures in the picture and stuff like that. I remember my girls and my boys really enjoyed that. So but I just want to tell you that, each child will move at their own individual pace. And they will, you want to encourage them to learn at a certain pace, but you also don't want to bash them if they're not. Because all that will come. It will come in time. And again, just, check your laws and make sure that you're within your state laws. And as far as socialization goes, Curriculum nowadays can be done. There's homeschooling, there's unschooling, there's all kinds of methods of teaching your child. You can have a normal public school based curriculum, you can have an online curriculum. You can have a what they call real world curriculum, which I think a lot of your unschoolers used, where they don't sit down in front of a book and a classroom and a chalkboard. They just go out and do things, and that's how they learn. They go to the grocery store, and that's their home ec. They learn how to do money. They learn how to read the packages. They learn how to measure when they cook, and all of these methods are great methods. With that said, you have to figure out which one's going to work for your child. And I tell you honestly, each child is going to be different. So do not expect two children to give you the same results, because if you do, you're going to be disappointed. I'm letting you know, you're going to be very disappointed. Again, you could have identical twins, the same age, eat the same food, wearing the same clothes, being taught by the same person in the same classroom, and they are both going to have a different experience. So you need to keep that in mind, and they're both going to excel at different rates. And they will both excel in different subjects. It's just, it is what it is on that one. But, I found homeschooling to be a complete joy. It was absolutely, loved doing the curriculum, loved doing the crafts, loved spending time with the Girl Scouts when we did Girl Scouts and with the boys. Now, my youngest son, he likes to go and play basketball with the church. And then my other son, my oldest son, he likes to pretty much just hang at the park with his friends and spend the day there. I think he's more laid back. My younger son is more outgoing. He's more verbal. My older son, he's more laid back. He will talk to 1 to 2 people at a time, whereas my younger son will entertain an entire room. But 2 different personalities. Same home, same food, same parents, 2 different personalities. But anyways, guys, homeschooling can absolutely be a joy for you and for the child. And as much as the learning experiences is important, as much as the learning experience is important, so is the socialization. So the earlier you find activities for kids to come together and play, the more they come together and learn. You know, it's all a learning experience when you're 10 and under. Pretty much everything is a learning experience. And just learning how to get along with people that aren't family, learning how to build friendships, share, and learning how to accept people of different skin color, learning how to accept people of different cultures, of different sex, of different ideas, of ideals. You know, the sooner you can get them to socialize, the better. But like I said, in the early years, you don't really have to emphasize on that. But I would definitely start emphasizing on the socialization by the time they're at least 8, 9, and 10. Spending time with a homeschooling child is very important. You don't just hand them something and go, here, go do it. You want to be there with them because you want to share in the learning moments and you want to encourage in the struggling moments. So early on, you want to do that. But it is, in the early years, it is about building them up to an independent level of where you do hand them something and go, here, go do this, and they take it and they go off and go do it. Now, my children, being 15 and 17, are now at that stage. I can hand them their work, or I can tell them, to go look this up, read this, do this. And that's the stage they're at. And if they have the questions, then they come back to me. Excuse me. And I will tell you honestly that just because we are homeschooling parents, we do not know everything. There's a lot we don't know. So if my child comes to me and they have a question about, 1,000-year-old dinosaur bones and how long have they been, how long do they have to lay there before they fossilize? I don't have a clue. I'm not a scientist. And, so if we want to know how long did it take to, for those bones to lay there and fossilize before they were fossils, 1,000 years ago, because we know it didn't take them 1,000 years. They didn't just fossilize. But, then that's when we start going, hey, Google, hey, whatever. And I can't say it because if I do, it'll interrupt my video. But you know what I'm saying. You can go, hey, Google, and, how long, and you can get a basic idea. And the good news is libraries still exist, people. Public libraries still exist. And I tell you what, my boys and I, and my girls as well, and my husband too, enjoy going to our public library. We enjoy checking out movies. The boys enjoy checking out comic books, reading books, activity books. I've seen how to draw books. I've seen cartoon books. I've seen Diary of a Wimpy Kid books. So, the public library, library, as of today, does still exist. Now, because of everything that's going on online with ebooks and all that crap, I'm sure in the near future, public libraries will be a thing of the past and will become a historical notion. But as of today, they do still exist. They also have fun activities at the public library. There's been many times over the years where the boys and the girls found themselves at a read-along. And what they do is they go sit in a circle and someone comes in and reads a book to them. And now, I don't know about this year. I have to check into it. But last year, during the holidays, we went in and we got to make Christmas cards for the soldiers. So we all, it was me, my two boys, my oldest daughter, and my grandson. And we went and made our cards and we signed them. And then we turned them in on our way out. And it was great because they provided everything. All we did was show up. And they provided all the materials and all the stickers and the cards and, the markers and all that. And we sat there. And if I remember right, we colored about 3 apiece. And then we left. And it was great. It was a great experience. I saw some people there that I knew. And we were introduced to people that we didn't know, and it was great. And so, again, part of socialization, part of being a part of your community. And it was just a great experience, and I loved it. And we felt like we were a part of something because we made holiday cards for our soldiers. And it was a great thing. So, guys, just, keep in mind, when you're going to homeschool, it can be a great experience for you and the kids. But it does entail a little bit of work or a lot of work. It entails a lot of work, depending on how old your kids are. And you want to be active with them. You want to be social. You want to be educational. You want to be well-rounded. So, and it takes time. You may not, if this is going to be your first year homeschooling, you may not get it right away. And that's okay. It may take you 2 or 3 years to figure out what works best for each child. One child, you may have to be very hands-on, sit right next to me. Here we're gonna, sit here and we're gonna do this together. And then the other child may be sitting over in the corner on the desktop or the laptop, getting their online lesson with no problem. Each child's going to be different, and you have to figure out what works best for not just the child, but what works best for you too. That way you and the child can come together and have a great learning experience. So keep that in mind. First, you want to figure out your state laws, and I think that the laws vary state to state, so you definitely want to figure that out and make sure that it's even okay for you to homeschool. And then you also want to keep your resources as broad as possible. You don't narrow in your resources. Keep those very, very broad. Keep your public library, your YMCA, and your YMCA will have a lot of things geared towards children as well. As far as socialization, they do baseball, and they do summer camps, and they do band, and they do all kinds of things for kids. They have swimming teams and swimming meets. So it just depends, again, on what state you're in. And check with your local Y to see what they do. But your churches also do things as well. And there, again, there's the Boy Scout and the Girl Scout. And your schools, some of the local schools I've found will also do activities where they allow the homeschool child to come in and interact with the school child, with, like they do library time. They'll allow your child to come into their private library. And so, it's just good to keep your resources as broad as possible. So guys, I'm going to wrap this up, and I'm going to remind you that I can be found in quite a few places on the web. And now I want to remind you that not only is Crafting with Six on Facebook, but Crafting with Six is also on YouTube. I have another channel where I do crafting projects over there, and so that can be another good something to incorporate into your homeschooling. Is you can do that as a project, as an arts and craft project in your homeschooling class. So guys, if this video has helped you in any way, give it a thumbs up. Feel free to subscribe, and guess what? If you have questions, leave them below. If I can help you, I will help you, and if I can't, I will try to direct you in a direction in which you can find help. So I'm going to get up from here, guys. It is a Sunday morning, November the 15th, and you guys have a great rest of the weekend.